At the outbreak of the Philippine-American War, one of the units sent by America to fight the Filipinos was the 24th Infantry Regiment, an all-black regiment part of the famed Buffalo Soldiers. Among these men was a young corporal named David Fagen. Facing racism both at home and in the army, and recognizing he was being ordered to fight fellow people of color who were only seeking their freedom, Fagen defected to the Philippine side. He fought with distinction against his former comrades and was made an officer in the Philippine Revolutionary Army, which was labeled as insurgents by the Americans. Thus, David Fagen was the Buffalo Soldier turned Philippine Insurrecto. The Buffalo Soldiers was the name given to the army units of black soldiers serving under white officers. These were the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments, as well as the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments. These units were formed mainly from freed slaves after the American Civil War and were assigned to guard American interests in the western frontier. The Native American tribes they fought against were the ones who named them after the buffalo, in part due to their dark skin and curly hair. But this was not meant as a racial slur. In fact, the name was given as an honor. The buffalo were not only a major food source, but also provided the Plains Indians with material for clothing and shelter. They were also revered as a symbol for the warrior spirit. So when the Indian tribes saw that in battle, the black soldiers, just like the buffalo, kept on fighting even when shot full of arrows, they bestowed the name as a sign of respect. In 1899, at the height of the Philippine-American War, the battle-tested Buffalo Soldier regiments, veterans of the Indian Wars, and fresh from the battlefields of Cuba, were deployed to the Philippines to reinforce the American Army fighting Philippine revolutionaries under the command of General Emilio Aguinaldo. The 24th Infantry Regiment was assigned to Central Luzon, where they were part of General Arthur MacArthur's push north along the axis of the Manila to Dagupan Railway. They participated in the Battle of Angeles and the subsequent breakout from that perimeter. Among the soldiers of the 24th Infantry Regiment was a young corporal named David Fagen. Fagen grew up in Tampa, Florida, part of the American South, gripped in segregationist Jim Crow laws of racial discrimination and bigotry. Fagen experienced firsthand this racism, both at home and from the white officers commanding him in the army. He came to realize that he was being made to fight a war of oppression against a fellow people of color. The white Americans calling the Filipinos gugus and niggers, the same insult hurled at his own race. The Philippine Army also used propaganda targeting the black soldiers, urging them to join the Philippine side against their white oppressors. It was not surprising that Fagen decided to heed the call of the Filipinos and abandon his army. One night, he left his camp and rendezvoused with a Filipino officer, and they both escaped on horseback to the jungles of Mount Arayat. Fagen joined the Katipunan and served with distinction under the commands of Generals Jose Alejandrino and Urbano Lacuna. He participated in at least 8 different engagements against his former comrades, the most noteworthy being a raid on a supply barge on the Pampanga River, where he and his men were able to cart off much-needed rifles and ammunition, as well as other supplies. He was commissioned as a lieutenant and later promoted to captain, attaining a legendary status among his Katipunan comrades. Out of respect for his leadership, his own men referred to him as General Fagen. So notorious was he to the American forces that a bounty of $600 was offered for his head. Later, at least 20 more American soldiers would join him in defecting to the Philippine side. Emilio Aguinaldo was finally captured by the Americans in March of 1901. In the following months, other Katipunan generals and their men would also lay down their arms and surrender. This option was not available to Fagen. He knew he would be executed if he surrendered. Two other Buffalo soldiers, defectors from the 9th Cavalry, were hanged as punishment, so Fagen kept on fighting for many more months. In December 1901, a former Insurrecto named Anastasio Bartolome sought to claim the bounty and brought in a severed, slightly decomposed head he said was that of David Fagen. It seems even the Americans doubted his story. The report on the incident is titled "The Supposed Killing of David Fagen." In any case, the American military closed the case and his death was written about in newspapers back in America, though there is no record that any bounty was ever paid, and reported sightings of David Fagen continued for years to come. So it isn't hard to imagine that Fagen lived on. Bartolome served with Fagen in the same Katipunan brigade. They could have conspired to fake his death. Fagen had married a Filipino wife and perhaps wanted to live his life without the threat of being hunted down and killed. It would be a beautiful end to the story of the Buffalo soldier turned insurrecto if this Filipino hero indeed got to live a life of peace and happiness with his wife and family deep in the hills of the Sierra Madre. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to click like and subscribe and share with your friends. Salamat po.